It seems like back in the mid-2000s, Mario RPGs were thriving in its peak stage. We had both Paper Mario and Mario & Luigi giving out their best entries in their own series, and it also seemed like each added something to the table that the other may or may not have done as well. Paper Mario is best known for its sheer character and wacky scenarios, and Mario & Luigi was mostly praised for its battle system and more focused on minigames and environmental puzzles. You really had some good options here. However, nowadays, it's kind of a different story. With Alpha Dream unfortunately going bankrupt in 2019, the Mario & Luigi series has officially tied with no obvious revival in sight, and Paper Mario, while still releasing Origami King, that game was still pretty mixed by fans. Now, if you've watched my previous Mario & Luigi videos, it should not come as much of a surprise that I've always preferred Mario & Luigi over Paper Mario. I guess it's what you call nostalgic bias, because, you know, I grew up with all these games, but I don't know, I just really enjoyed simply how fun these games were. Last time I took a look at Partners in Time and, you know, deleted the video and then had to rush remake it, but that's beside the point. Despite its lackluster areas, I still thought the game was pretty good, and I definitely liked its darker atmosphere. But think about it, Partners in Time basically made Mario & Luigi turn into a series, something that could actually rival Paper Mario. And of course, a third installment was definitely in the realm of possibility. For this one, Alpha Dream decided to push the DS hardware to its limits and make a new Mario & Luigi game that apparently took extensive use of the touchscreen. Sure, Partners in Time did do things with the dual screens, but not the touchscreen, like, at all. This game was revealed as Mario & Luigi RPG 3, which it always struck me as interesting that Japan just gets titles like that for their games. Like, apparently they called Partners in Time Mario & Luigi RPG 2x2. Creative, right? Anyways, at E3 2009, we finally got confirmation of the English title, which would be Bowser's Inside Story. Yeah, screw all the baby crap the previous entry did. No, this game was about going into Bowser's body. That is insane! And you could even play as Bowser. No other game could ever dream of doing something like this. Okay, well, I guess Paper Mario also did this. But real talk, this is a great gimmick. Just looking at that box art, man, Bowser played an even bigger role this time. Also, yeah, this is when they first started doing the whole white background thing. I definitely like it for making these games stand out a little more, but I'm definitely gonna miss the first two's incredible full-fledged artwork for their box arts. Man, rest in peace. Honestly, the pre-release history of this game is not really interesting at all compared to the first two games, which is kind of weird to me, but anyways, what matters is that this main gimmick for Bowser's Inside Story was already just way more interesting than what Partners in Time did, and many people seem to think that way, because when you talk about this game, it's pretty much just unanimously considered the best Mario & Luigi game by far. As for me back then, I didn't know if I actually liked Dream Team more, since that game I put dozens of hours into, but I do at least remember quite a lot about this game, its areas, and its characters, which is something I definitely could say for Partners in Time. But yeah, I feel like this review has been long overdue. BIS is a game I should have gotten to way sooner rather than later, especially with me not making it during most of summer. But now, I really want to just get to it after all this time. It's almost the end of the summer, and I want to finally continue this marathon of Mario & Luigi RPGs that I started a while ago. Will this be the best Mario & Luigi game to this point? Honestly, probably will be, just judging by all the praise it gets, but I'm so excited to go through it again, so let's just not waste any more time, alright? This is the Bowser Inside Story you've been waiting for. Jesus Christ, this is gonna be my longest video, isn't it?
Nintendo!
Oh, that's classic. I hope they never remove this tradition, honestly. Man, I gotta say, I've always really liked this title screen. I definitely don't think it holds up to Partners in Time's amazing title screen, but this comes pretty close. The music is super nice and relaxing, and I really like how the bottom screen with the water then turns into the reflection of Bowser's castle as parts of the logo pop up. It's a good way of representing a little bit about the game's overarching gimmick. Alright, anyways, let's just jump in and start a new file. The game opens up with a little cutscene showing the day-to-day life of the Toads of Toad Town. Specifically, this little toad who skipped half of school that day. All is fine and ordinary until this happens. Yes, the Blorbs, the #1 thing causing the most trouble in the Mushroom Kingdom at this current moment. It's caused an epidemic that has literally torn apart toad families, and it's terrible. It's a huge disease that makes toads balloon in size to the point where they can barely move at all. Meanwhile, at Peach's castle, there's a big meeting discussing what could be the cause of the blorbs right now. Toadbert, the blue-headed toad with glasses, says that the cause may have been from all these toads buying something called blorb mushrooms. Well, that's pretty blatant, not gonna lie. And of course, it wouldn't be Mario and Luigi without Mario and Luigi. They arrive on the scene with Luigi tripping and falling and revealing his beautiful striped socks. Like, damn, look at that! And of course he falls asleep at the table, until Bowser storms in, tries to defeat Mario in a battle, but fails. And then when it's over, Peach does this? Anyways, this sends Bowser flying into this faraway forest. He walks around and soon enough, he meets a mysterious cloaked man in this conspicuous shop thingy, who tricks him into giving him a shroom that apparently is lucky for him, but really all it does is makes Bowser vacuum everything he sees at incredible power. And then he storms Peach's castle again, but then literally vacuums everything in that room, including Mario, Luigi, Toadsworth, Peach, and a bunch of toads, where Mario and Luigi actually enter Bowser's body and guts and have to traverse out of there to find everyone else. Jesus. Actually, I forgot to mention that you have a brand new partner now for this adventure. Her name is Starlo, and I gotta say, I was always kind of indifferent to her, mostly because she serves as a tutorial character in the early hours of the game. I'll definitely probably get to it in the later videos, but the series seemed to have a thing for tutorials, and I guess it's not bad here. In fact, it's always kind of funny that the game has a story reason for explaining things as simple as just warping in the overworld. Starlo at least has a lot more personality than Stuffwell from Partners in Time, and apparently that was a very good thing because she stayed as Mario and Luigi's sidekick for literally the rest of the series. So, you know what? I don't really mind her, I guess. So now Mario, Luigi, and Starlo are stuck in Bowser's body, and the goal doesn't just become getting everyone out of there. Bowser is also exploring the real world up there, and through this adventure, the goal also becomes helping Bowser out when he really needs it, which again, I'll get to later. But it's so cool, dude. I love this premise for the game. It's so insane. Mario and Luigi are literally inside Bowser, and like, you get to play as him too. Also, that mysterious cloaked man that I mentioned a bit earlier, guess what? That's Fawful. Yes, Fawful made an actual return as the main villain again, and it's so cool. He's out for revenge and wants to take over the Mushroom Kingdom, but most importantly, obtain the Dark Star, which you find out about in a little PowerPoint, which these games always do for some reason. But anyway, it's something that has incredible power, something that could actually take full control of the kingdom. He eventually does obtain it by doing whatever this is, and Peach as well too. But of course, don't take any of this too seriously, because, you know, Fawful's still pretty goofy. I swear, he kind of feels like a Dr. Seuss character now, if that makes any sense. Saying some of that classic weird nonsense he had, occasionally rhyming his speeches, and he has a lot of chortles. Like, oh my god. I do especially like that he's now the main villain instead of one of Cackleta's minions or whatever. And as for everyone else, well, Bowser obviously gets most of the spotlight here, but Mario and Luigi still have their moments. I think the best part about it is that they babble so much more gibberish in most dedicated scenes with them, and it's honestly some fantastic work from Charles Martinet. Like, listen. Alright, so I think I've covered the premise pretty fully at this point, so let's get into the whole Bowser's inside story part of this game. So yeah, you're exploring the insides of Bowser, and I gotta say, it's pretty great. Rather than a typical overworld style, you explore these areas in 2D side-scroller sections, and it's a nice change of pace from Bowser's heads-on gameplay, which, again, I'll get to later. You'll be mostly doing some nice platforming, solving a lot of puzzles, and fighting weird looking enemies. I think in terms of the art direction of this area, Alpha Dream did a really good job. It totally looks like you're in the guts of some other big, disgusting creature, without making it look super gory, of course. But like, the color palettes are often weirdly appealing. It's a nice cartoony style if you want to put it like that. I also really like how the music is the same as the one the area Bowser's in, only it sounds a little grosser and weirder this time. Nice touch. And honestly, I don't know how Nintendo greenlit the idea of exploring the insides of Bowser back then. Like, it's still such a crazy concept. And in Alpha Dream's perspective, I think they squeezed as much as they could from this one idea. I mean, apparently Bowser has a lot of weird warp pipe cannons, freaky looking doors, and also super strange and wacky enemies. Also, he's freaking huge. Like, seriously, maybe Mario and Luigi somehow shrunk down when they got all vacuumed up. And if we're talking about learning about Bowser himself, well, there's a part in the game where you explore his head and his memories and stuff, and it's kind of interesting. However, I think beating Bowser shines the most when it comes to its mechanics. There's one part where you have to control the level of water in an area to solve different puzzles and progress, and the way you do it is you control Bowser drinking a fountain of water on the top screen. That's honestly so creative. I think my favorite area though was where you had to shine light through Bowser's body with this weird machine in the Tower of Yik later on. It involves a lot of platforming and stopping these boo blocks in place, trying to find invisible platforms with the light on. It's a super underrated little gimmick, honestly. Alongside that, because you're playing as Mario and Luigi, you'll also be finding your bros moves once again. It's nothing we haven't seen before though, like the spin jump, the drill, having hammers. It's all back again and it's pretty good. But even then, there are parts where you really have to help Bowser, and these take the shape of mini games you play as the brothers. For example, there's a lot of times where Bowser has to pull and push things so big and heavy that he can't do it himself. So it's up to Mario and Luigi to play some of these button timing based minigames for him. This one actually turns into a rhythm game later on, kind of neat. There's more stuff like this where Bowser's forced to do something with astronomical power, and honestly, every minigame I found pretty fun. Well, almost all of them. They at least don't feel forced in any way, and even if they do repeat a couple of times, they get harder, which is a very good thing. But the one I easily had the most trouble with was this one, where you have to control Mario and Luigi with the stylus while they're spinning into these things. God, okay, this is not going to be the first time this comes up since the game uses the stylus quite a lot in a normal playthrough, but man, I'll just say this. I was playing on an emulator and I had to control this with a mouse, and it's honestly not fun at all. It was mostly just really frustrating for the final one especially, but it's probably better on original hardware, so whatever. Anyways, I talked a lot about exploring the insides of Bowser, but truth be told, it's all really good, and way better than I remember, honestly. But how about we just get to the true star of the show, Bowser himself. And no, I mean in the overworld. Yeah. So guess what? This is Bowser's game now. He gets all the spotlight. And controlling him feels a lot more different from Mario and Luigi, obviously. He's a bit slower, but oh god, he's a lot more satisfying in my opinion. He can throw punches, unlock the chance to breathe fire to cause deforestation and stuff, and later on you learn brand new abilities. They'll usually be unlocked by the bros in his body doing a specific thing at a specific point of the game. Like you gotta manipulate certain organs of his body or take out a bug blocking his flame pipe. You unlock stuff like the body slam, a longer punch you can do while running, and even a roll into your shell, casually going anywhere you want faster than before, where you can climb walls just with your spikes. Like, damn, Bowser's pretty powerful when he does that. I really love how Bowser feels though. It's a nice trade-off from Mario and Luigi's faster movement in exchange for satisfying power, especially in battles, which, oh boy, I'll get to later. The areas you explore in the real world as Bowser are also handled better than Partners in Time in my opinion. I mean, I thought that game had some really cool looking areas, and I feel like Bowser's side story never really lives up to concepts like the Vim Factory. But instead of going for a darker atmosphere, we got some bright and colorful cheerful areas instead, with honestly way better scenarios this time, and at this point I'll take that. I really like Plaque Beach. It's a beach with a lot of teeth, and it's a pun on plaque, cause like, teeth, you know? You fight teeth-looking Pokies, and you meet this guy named Brock Monsieur, stuck on an island, a French question block character guy with a neat-looking mustache. You can even switch his head around to look angry. You first gotta start in this game, and is honestly a pretty iconic character in the series nowadays. There's also Dimble Wood, where you meet 3 of Bowser's minions with actual names. There's Sergeant Guy, Corporal Paraplonk, and Private Goomp. I really like their presence. They show up from time to time for whatever reason, even if they don't serve much at all to the story, but I especially like how the designs are just literally like a Koopa with a bucket for a hat. It's kind of funny. You also soon meet what could be assumed as Bowser's rival, Midbus, who doesn't really serve like any purpose to the story, honestly. He just shows up for a boss fight and doesn't really know how to speak proper English, which I guess like that's his gimmick pretty much. But I still like him being here. All the original characters they got for this game were fun and fresh in my opinion. But moving back to the scenarios. Oh, they're way better than PIT for sure. I especially love this part where Bowser is forced to eat this gigantic carrot just because he pulled it out without knowing it's the greatest, biggest carrot ever grown by the grandfathers of the Wiggler, and you have to help him digest it all in this minigame. This is actually pretty infamous for apparently being super hard, and I'll just save you the trouble. Honestly, it's not hard, like at all. I was done with it with like 20 seconds to spare, and it's pretty fun actually. So yeah, I don't know. And I gotta say, there's even more wackier stuff happening with Bowser every area you go to. Every now and then he'll literally die for some reason, like getting crushed by his castle or getting ran by a freaking train, until Mario and Luigi revive him in a fun and silly minigame where he then grows to such a big ass alarming size, then beats his own castle to death. I'll get to the gameplay of these in a sec, but I also just love these parts for the weirdness alone. There's a part where you also have to sneeze so hard, and once again another minigame, yes, the stylus one I was complaining about, where you sneeze to move an entire ship to break some boulders, and then a little later you find another building, this thing called the Tower of Yik, which has a weird mustache, and another groundbreaking giant battle, where you then actually go inside and find out that there's this weird machine, which I also mentioned earlier, being kept by a ghost in a book who also looks like the tower itself. It's pretty great. I really like how much more ambitious this feels compared to Partners in Time. Although, one of my favorite areas to explore as Bowser in this game is your very own castle. Or should I say, Fawful's, because he took over and somehow made the entire building just fly on its own when they were shot at Bonsai Bill. Yeah, that was pretty stupid and got funny. But I gotta be honest, seeing Bowser's own castle now with all of his minions totally brainwashed by Fawful where they don't recognize him at all anymore, it honestly might just be like one of the darkest moments in video gaming history. And then you go further to watch a show about Fawful, where you then take on Midbus in a boss battle on stage. Like, God, this game goes wild with this stuff. But it doesn't end there. For winning, you're treated to a huge buffet. Look at all these gorgeous, delicious, feast-worthy meals. These DS sprites with foods are really making me hungry. I always wanted to eat these in real life when I played this game back then. Just a childhood dream, I guess. Of course, Bowser is force-fed all of these by his former booze and gets fat? And believe it or not, Bowser getting fat somehow lets Mario and Luigi access a brand new area in his body where the fat is the primary thing about the area. That's insane. But okay, Alpha Dream, I think you might have a problem. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you with making everyone in this series fat? Like, come on! What the fuck?! Oh, and then after that, Bowser runs on a treadmill for a good 10 seconds, and then he's back to his glory days already. Like, damn. Real talk though, I love the scenarios you get to experience as Bowser. It's all way better than what Partners in Time had, and if you want to go further, maybe even better than Superstar Saga. At least they definitely live up to them. I feel like BIS went the most crazy and wacky with the events that happen in every part of the kingdom, and I have to give credit for that. It produced probably some of the most memorable moments in the entire series for that very reason. The best part is that you're not going through these areas as the usual Mario Bros. No. You get to see Bowser's reaction to all of these things. It's sort of the same as how Superstar Saga put most of the spotlight on Luigi and how they sort of fleshed out his character in a funny way. And I honestly adore this depiction of Bowser in this game. It might be one of my favorites, who knows. Again, he can never be taken seriously, it seems like, and he has a more jokey side to him, which I think is to be sort of expected in a Mario RPG of this nature. But, you know, he's likable, and he isn't just that one-sided villain we've all come to know. And I think that was a very important part in making this game so generally enjoyable and fresh in the first place. Also, I really like that he just never knows that the Mario and Luigi guys are in his body. In fact, Starlo does try to communicate with him when he's in a lot of trouble mostly. Also, kind of insulting him, which are my favorite moments. And you know what? Starlo has kind of grown on me. This made one of my favorite dynamics in the entire game, and Bowser even refers to him as Chippy. It's a way better name in my opinion. Now eventually, as Mario and Luigi, you do get to explore the Mushroom Kingdom on foot, as you finally get to escape from Bowser's disgusting guts through pipes in his body that somehow connect to the real world. How does that even work? But when you do, you first land in Toad Town. Yes, an actual town in a Mario and Luigi game. None of this Toad Town, but everyone is gone and dead and it's all destroyed and really depressing stuff. Well, I guess it's still sort of depressing because of the Blorbs thing, but it's still really nice to get to this point of the game. I really have a lot of nostalgia for this specific song especially. Like, man, it's so nice and peaceful. I love it. However, it doesn't stop there. Later on, you have to do a backtracking mission. I guess sort of similar to the Bean Star mission from Superstar Saga, where you're exploring areas Bowser explored on foot previously as a more acrobatic duo. I don't really mind this part of the game because you're exploring brand new areas of this game with newer scenarios, having the chance to grab some secret items you may have missed, and solving puzzles, and once again getting fucking fat off of air. God damn it! Which I guess I can excuse this time. It's like the pea balloon. Whatever. You know, even though it may be a whole different kingdom to explore, the areas and scenarios of Bowser's Inside Story, I felt like they sort of knocked out of the park. I mean, stuff like Bumpsy Plains and Dimblewood I maybe found a little generic, but I learned that it's the things that happen in these areas and the characters that revolve around it that makes these games so special, and Bowser's Inside Story definitely succeeds in that department. This is a game that introduced some pretty iconic characters in the series, and pacing for how often they're introduced is pretty excellent. It's great how ambitious this game feels compared to how sorta much smaller and low-key the adventures of the previous two games felt in comparison. But I haven't even gotten into one of my favorite parts of Bowser's Inside Story. It's another department that this game definitely exceeds in. Yeah, it's the battle system. Alright, we have quite a lot to go through here, so let's start it up. Truth be told, for Mario and Luigi's battles, it's not really that much different in essence, but I do gotta say, this is probably the best the Mario & Luigi battle system has felt thus far. It feels really good to attack whenever, and I honestly forgot how much harder the timing is for excellent attacks for both jumping and hammer swings. It isn't super duper hard overall. I mean, this game is still pretty easy, but mastering these attacks to the best degree can take a little getting used to, even nearing the last half of the game, which I think adds to BIS's strengths tier. And as for everything else, I still love it. I think the enemy attacks are harder as well, which is definitely a good thing, but it all still feels really fair. I mean, this is why I've always preferred this battle system to Paper Mario's. Like, you can avoid any attack the enemy throws at you as long as you just learn the patterns and don't get fooled by the fake outs and stuff. I mean, I definitely didn't do a great job at doing that for my playthrough, but when I was able to, it felt pretty good, obviously. However, one nitpick I do have that I don't think Superstar Saga had, at least. I just kinda wish some of these enemies got themselves over with faster. Some enemies honestly take too long with their animations, and I just wanted to be over and done already. However, it's not that big of a deal. For the special attacks, they've been handled quite differently. Now you have to get 10 attack pieces in these blocks by exploring the area they're in. Sometimes all the pieces are kinda handed to you in one fell swoop, which kinda makes exploring for these a little more pointless in my opinion. But other than that, I think this is the best way Alpha Dream has handled getting these, objectively. Partners at the time was definitely weird about it. Buying special attacks from a shop didn't make that much sense, honestly. But here, it has a lot more incentive. And the attacks themselves, where do I begin? Like, they are all so good. Some of the best ones in the entire series, for sure. They're also much more difficult to pull off correctly than I remember. Some of these will take a good while of practice if you want to really master them. I know I'm not just saying that because some of these use the whole dual screen stuff, and I didn't have that on emulator because this was my setup. So yeah, it kinda sucked for those attacks, but still, Bowser's Inside Story has some of my favorite special moves in the entire series. I especially love stuff like the magic window. It's so simple, just time your button presses faster and faster, or maybe even the snack basket. I mean, this one is a cult classic. You unlock this one by backtracking to Dimblewood, and it involves Luigi eating a bunch of food falling from the sky, getting enormously fat, and shaking the ground to deal tremendous damage. You first use it on this weird guy to break his pose or whatever by causing a mini earthquake, and it's as ridiculous as it is super fun to pull off. Again, it just does the dual screen stuff, and I don't like it much for that though, but oh my god, it is so weird and fun. How do they friggin' come up with ideas like this? Also, Jesus Christ. Fucking Luigi gets fat. This is for the third, no, fourth, no, sixth fucking time, officer. You've done this shit once again. But yeah, overall this is pretty good. You also have badges which you unlock much later in the game. Honestly, I don't know if I really care for them. It seemed like I could never buy a lot of different badges even near the end of the game. But, that's what a sequel's for, I guess. I suppose they're fine here. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, they also introduced ranks in this game. Get to a certain level and you unlock a new rank. It basically just allows you to equip one more item or even shop at a better place. And there's even the elusive Rainbow rank, a hidden final rank that requires you to get to level freaking 40. That's a ton of grinding you gotta do, and I only managed to get to it on my original save file. I couldn't come anywhere close on this playthrough. But yeah, ranks, a great addition that totally incentivizes you to keep battling. These also apply to Bowser as well. Oh yeah. Bowser, I guess I should sort of get to that. Yeah, Bowser feels totally different in the overworld and in battle. Oh my god, I really love how his attacks feel. He's way stronger than both Mario and Luigi, and he'll be fighting even tougher and bigger enemies. Like a chubby Goomba with a lollipop. Oh my god. His punches and flame attacks feel so satisfying to pull off. They deal tons of damage, dude. Later on, you'll unlock the vacuum button from the Brocade Monsieur guy I mentioned. Yeah, it's a button that you can use to inhale certain stuff, maybe to give you the advantage, but even cooler, you can inhale small enemies and take them inside for Mario and Luigi to battle themselves, netting both Bowser and the bros experience points. Dude, this is so genius. I love this little mechanic. Bowser doesn't even know what's going on in there, and you get the best of both worlds with both styles of gameplay. Pretty awesome. And like the bros, Bowser also has his own special attacks, which is good for him. You unlock these by just finding Bowser's minions stuck in a cage, just out of random. Okay, honestly a little lamer than the attack pieces, but oh well. But I think the concept of these special Bowser attacks are cool. You're literally fighting with your minions now, and they all use the stylus. That's pretty neat. Except it's not, because again, I was playing on a fucking emulator. God damn it! Like, come on, dude, I suck at these now. In fact, I probably suck at these on original hardware even, but like, Jesus Christ, I can't do these for shit on PC. Why did I even think of doing a Mario and Luigi RPG marathon review thingy if I didn't even have a DS or 3DS capture card? Like, damn, I didn't think of that, huh? God, I wonder how Dream Team and Paper Jam will go. Anyways, yeah, the Bowser's battles are super good, not much to complain about here. Also, I honestly think Bowser's Inside Story easily has the most fun boss fights in the series. A lot of these fights have gimmicks, which makes them all feel fresh in a way. And I especially love this, like, weird worm you fight with, like, a weird meter that transforms into, a love worm. Yes, a love worm. There's even a moment where you have to fight yourselves, and you even get to fight Bowser. What a crossover. He even used the special attacks you got already. It's pretty cool. And speaking of boss fights, yes, I have to get to this. Probably one of the most well-known things this game introduced, and a major selling point, were the big-ass boss battles as Giant Bowser. So remember when I mentioned the moments where you grow super big with Bowser? Well, they're an actual gameplay edition. These are the Mega Bowser battles, or whatever you want to call them. You have to turn your DS sideways for these. That's how crazy they get. And god, I gotta say, I had such a fun time recording these on an emulator with OBS. Like, wow. Wow. Anyway, I really do love how big and grand these feel. It's pretty awesome overall, and they sure are very memorable, but gameplay-wise, these are kinda nothing. They're always very easy to get through, and the attacks don't have much going for them. They're so easy to pull off, and you don't have anything else other than the flame and punch. Also, you have to blow into the mic for the flame attack, and this is when I learned two things. For some reason, the game never penalizes you for being late on the mic, and two, this emulator I was using actually requires a real microphone to be plugged in, so I had to go digging for my blue snowball, plug it in just for this. That's it. But yeah, kinda disappointing overall. It's a neat use of the DS hardware. I honestly always loved when DS games did this weird kinda thing, but hopefully it gets improved in later entries, because spoiler alert, the next game would also have this exact same gimmick. And yeah, I pretty much covered all the things new to this battle system. They introduced quite a lot to it, and that's why it took me so long to discuss it all. And while it isn't all great and amazing, most of it is. I love controlling Bowser in battle. It's a nice breath of fresh air from Mario & Luigi's typical combat system. Or should I say breath of flame air? Get it? What? And those special attacks are really something special. They're the best in the series easily. And honestly, that made going through this game for this review so much fun. This combat alone was so fun and engaging to deal with. I had a way better time replaying Bowser's Inside Story than I did with Partners in Time. It's that nice balance of fair and challenging that the previous entries were definitely known for, while also being pretty accessible for newcomers. But it's been fleshed out to a degree that I just couldn't ignore for this video. It's all just really great and polished and top-notch for Mario & Luigi standards. And yeah, I think that about covers it for most of the game, I guess. I've talked quite a while so far because there's just so much good stuff to say about this game, and I'll just say this. I genuinely think Bowser's Inside Story is probably, objectively, the best Mario & Luigi game for sure. All this stuff that I talk about, it's totally obvious why many people seem to love it. But actually, I'll save it for later. But before I get to the endgame stuff, I want to go over just a little bit of the side quests and other stuff I may not have talked about that I do want to mention because I think it's pretty cool. So yeah. This time there's a lot more side questy stuff you can do than what's in Partners in Time, I think, which is totally a plus. For example, you have smaller stuff like Bowser massaging this block lady, and you do that by trying to get high scores on your special attacks. Honestly, that's pretty creative. There's also the same stuff for Mario & Luigi. Apparently, Bowser has an entire area in his body dedicated to challenges and fighting harder versions of bosses with special attacks and other weird stuff like that. Bigger side quests also include the Blitties. I definitely remember this one. In every area in the game, there will always be Blitties you can pick up by vacuuming enemies. And god, they're so adorable when they're at the shop. If you get all of them for the block mustache guy, he will actually let you use his dog. Yes, the question block dog. You can use him for a dedicated special attack. And Jesus, it is easily the best Bowser special attack in the whole game. The side quest is definitely worth it for this alone. It is so powerful, dude. I love it. But easily, my favorite little side thing you can do is actually in Bowser's Castle. Yeah, you might know the one. You can unfreeze these ice blocks and oh my god. That's right, you can fight the last remaining Shroobs on this planet. That is such a cool callback, dude. For some reason, now they are a lot more powerful. Eventually, if you win, you get the magic window attack, which I mentioned earlier. That's just awesome, man. I've always loved this little throwback in the game. And yeah, I really think Bowser's Inside Story has a ton of extra content going for it. You really have a lot of stuff you can distract yourself with. And now, I didn't really know where else to bring this up for the rest of the video, but I really just want to touch on the presentation for a sec. Mario & Luigi games and Alpha Dream games, for that matter, are known to have some incredible sprite artwork. But in Bowser's Inside Story, man, everything about this game just looks so appealing. The colors just all pop. I especially love the sprites for Mario and Luigi themselves. Those hard black outlines really do add a lot of character to this game. Everything visually is just brimming with personality, especially the scenes with like Fawful and everything. And the music has got to be the best in the series. I've been using it throughout the video, obviously, and man, it has the best battle theme, the best boss theme, a pretty good mini-game theme, and some really catchy overall themes. You gotta love it. Alright, so now with all of that out of the way finally, let's move on to the final parts of this story and the ending. I'm gonna put a timestamp for you to skip if you don't want to see spoilers, but it is a Mario RPG. So, anyways, here we go. The finale, in my opinion, starts when you finally obtain all the star cures and make the ultimate miracle cure thanks to Dr. Toadley, the mad Dr. Scientist Toad. This not only cures the blorbs, finally, but also takes down all of those barriers in front of Peach's castle. And from here on out, a lot happens. Seriously, the finale part of this game is super jam-packed with a bunch of stuff happening that makes it all pretty long. But compared to Partners in Time, I don't actually mind it that much. You explore a bit of the outside in Peach's castle as the Mario Bros, then sort of reunite with Bowser, who is trapped in a safe after being betrayed by the 3 minion guys, since they've been brainwashed by Fawful. Those traitors, dude. It's here you unlock the final Bowser ability, the Roll, by having a nice tea time break. Yeah, seriously, the game forces you to put the DS down for like a couple of minutes here just for this. It's kind of funny, not gonna lie. This is like Paper Mario levels of absurdness too. And then as Bowser, as you make it further inside the castle, it's all completely Fawfulized. And I just want to take a second to say that at this point, Fawful actually feels like a super powerful villain. He's actually taking over everything, and I just find that really cool for his character, honestly. You have one last fight with Midbus, reaching his final form, but then he just freezes up. But then after that, Bowser accidentally inhales the Dark Star in his body after it got released by the Fawful Madman himself. It's here you now have to explore the final area in Bowser once and for all, and I do enjoy it. There's some pretty creative puzzles that have to do with freezing and unfreezing the place. Eventually the Mario team corner the Dark Star and try to defeat it in an honestly great boss, but it's already eaten way too much DNA from his body, and soon, Dark Bowser, a new form of Bowser that's way darker than before. Yeah, it pulled that on us for the 3rd time. Oh, and then you can't have a finale without another gigantic Bowser battle with Peach's castle. Jesus, it isn't that bad though. And then you fight Fawful. Holy crap. There are so many boss battles in this one area alone. But again, it all makes this section feel very worth it. Alpha Dream really took their time here to make them some of the most enjoyable fights in the entire game, probably. They all have really challenging attacks to avoid, and by the end, you just feel like an absolute powerhouse, so I'm not complaining. And after that little fight with him, he turns into a little black spider, achieving his final form, I guess. And then it's finally time. Bowser versus Dark Bowser, the ultimate showdown of your lives. Well, first they have to engage in a little mini-game battle, because why not? But then, it's really time. For real now. Everything about the atmosphere is honestly perfect. Just as good as Partners in Time's final boss too. The sky is cloudy and dark, and you're at the very, very top of Peach's castle, making this moment feel the rawest in the game for sure. Everything you've done in this adventure has led up to this very point. And oh boy, this final boss itself, it's honestly just really amazing. The music, dude, it is really, really freaking good. This is by far the best track to come out of the Mario & Luigi series for sure at this time. Man, let me tell you, when I first heard this song for like the very first time, I did not expect it to originate from a Mario game at all. And the fight gameplay wise is really damn good too. It has some pretty complex attacks that you have to avoid and counterattack and dodge and all that stuff. Lots of variety, and it's also the right difficulty in my opinion, so major props to that. But it doesn't even end there. There's even a second phase where you inhale the little spider Fawful turned into. Dude, this is so cool. Now you're fighting as Mario and Luigi and are actually fully teaming up with Bowser. I guess it wouldn't be a complete final boss in this game if we didn't have the bros chiming in too. I mean, never have we seen the Mario Brothers fight something this big and gigantic and kinda scary in this game so far. And once it's all done, well, Bowser gives out his trusty KO punches one after one, right into Dark Bowser's gut. I gotta be completely honest, this is probably my favorite finale in any Mario RPG. Alpha Dream really checked all the boxes on this boss especially. It's epic, it's fun, and it's the perfect length. It's all around really the best way to end the game for the size and scope and ambition Bowser's Inside Story has going for it. And yeah, that's it. Bowser and the Mario Bros have finally conquered the Dark Star and Fawful. Hopefully. Hopefully it doesn't return in a future game, Jesus Christ. And then Bowser realizes that they were in his body all along, and the game ends with them duking it out right then and there. Honestly, I really love that it ends like that. It's perfect for showing the funnier side of this game and just how silly their relationship is after all. And credits. I do have to say, I really always love the credits pictures. It shows the slow rebuilding of both Bowser's and Peach's castle, and the music too. Oh man, this is so emotional. It's about to make me tear up. And at the end of it all, in a post-credit scene, Bowser got a present from Peach. Hey look, it's a cake with Mario, Luigi, and Peach herself. Man, what a beloved masterpiece. Oh, and yeah, I didn't get the best possible rank in this game, but come on, screw you. I already got in my original save file, so whatever, I don't care. But holy crap, I had a lot to say about this game. Bowser's Inside Story is absolutely no question, objectively the best Mario & Luigi game I've reviewed so far. Somehow, while Superstar Saga leaned into the comedy part of the series, and Partners in Time leaned more into the darker tones, Bowser's Inside Story managed to perfectly blend those two attributes as you neared the end. But overall, its areas, its characters, having Bowser here, Mario and Luigi exploring the inside of Bowser is crazy. It's all just as charming as you would ever expect. But man, probably the best part about this game was the combat in my opinion. There's a good reason I talked so long about it, and that's because Alpha Dream introduced so much new stuff to it to keep it fresh and fun. It's probably the best the series has felt in any capacity. There's a lot to love about this game. It is without a doubt the best I've reviewed so far. However, hear me out. I'm going to say something that could totally shock you, but I think I might still prefer Superstar Saga to this game just a tiny bit. Now again, hear me out. I'm not saying this because it's a hot take or an unpopular opinion, whatever. I genuinely kind of think this game is my favorite still. I don't know, I really adored how inherently simple Superstar Saga's adventure felt. It had more focus on the brothers, and we got so many funny moments with them. It was also made for the GBA, where none of those DS gimmicks made its way in. Not saying that what Bowser's Inside Story did was bad by any means, far from it. But there were also a lot more memorable characters in this game than in Bowser's Inside Story. I think that's a plus. Also, I could just look at this as my favorite because it takes place in a completely different kingdom, and already it gets bonus points for being that unique, while BIS is still set in the Mushroom Kingdom. The Bean Bean Kingdom has some really interesting areas to explore from time to time. I still think mechanically, BIS is a phenomenal Mario RPG all around. But I gotta be honest, Superstar Saga just kind of speaks to me more. But you're welcome to still think BIS is your favorite. In fact, it probably makes a lot more sense. BIS is simply a much bigger feeling game than Superstar Saga, and it takes great advantage of the hardware. But overall, just think of it as me thinking that, yeah, you know, me thinking that Mario Odyssey is probably objectively the best Mario game, but I still prefer Sunshine and Galaxy 2 on a personal level, if that makes any sense. People are allowed to have their favorite games, so don't knock them for that. But there's most definitely a difference between the best and personal preference. But yeah, Bowser's Inside Story I had a boatload of fun with. It's aged incredibly well, and I'm super happy that I finally got around to making a video about it. Except this video is not over, is it? Alright, let's just get this over with. I've been talking way too long. So, in a Nintendo Direct back in 2018, a remake for Bowser's Inside Story was announced. Okay, you know, skipping Partners in Time. I mean, that's a little weird, I guess. But hey, I get it. Alpha Dream wanted to remake the best Mario & Luigi game in the series. Then again, it didn't really have any major problems, so was there a need for this remake in the first place? Hey, you know what? People can be happy for this. BIS is finally getting re-released. That's all that matters, right? Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser Jr.'s Journey released on the 3DS in early 2019. Jesus Christ! 2019? Really? I mean, let me tell you, I would have killed to see a Mario & Luigi game on Switch, and the Switch was well into its lifespan at this point. The 3DS was well into its deathbed at this point. Okay. Fun fact, I actually do own this game, by the way. Yeah, not the Superstar Saga remake, this one. For some reason, while I was at Best Buy back in 2019, I just bought this because I wasn't playing anything else at the time, and God, my game tastes were pretty horrible. And I remember it being Bowser's Inside Story, again, though I dropped it at like halfway through, so yeah. Anyway, let's just revisit this and evaluate the remake itself before getting into other stuff. Well, I'm mostly just going to be talking about graphics, and they've been changed quite a bit, honestly. First of all, even though this game runs with only 2D images as backgrounds, the frame rate has dropped to 30 FPS. Ugh! Like, trust me, I don't really care about frame rates in a video game, but this is very weird considering the last remake was 60 FPS. So, I don't know. Also, yeah, they changed the actual art style of almost everything pretty drastically, and it's to a point where I think most of it looks kind of worse than the original. Like, I guess it looks cleaner and more modern, but the original art style was so good, it inherently aged much better in my opinion. I think the Bowser Inside areas look worse too. They look almost completely different now, and even smaller stuff bug me, like the level up screen. Like, in the original it looked proud to be there, but now it just kind of looks sad. Also, the title screen is just way worse. Like, why has it been changed, dude? Also, other than that, they seem to change even more weird things, like the entire gameplay of battles. They feel way slower than the original. Like, Jesus, look at this startup animation. Why does it take so long? Oh yeah, and if I bring up this game, then I can't ignore that Bowser Jr.'s Journey side mode. Honestly, I played about a minute of it before getting bored and just wanting to finally finish the script once and for all. I guess the story recontextualizes a little bit of the main game. They introduced 3 new characters who look like fitness kind of people, but other than that, it looks really similar to the Bowser's Minions mode from the Superstar Saga remake, and from what I hear with this one, there's not much new to talk about here. It just seems very lackluster to me on the surface. So yeah, I don't know. The BIS remake is probably a fine way to play the game, but honestly, I think you'd be way better off with the original. The art style in the DS version is just a lot more appealing to me, if that makes any sense, and because of all the things they changed here, I'm not sure if I could recommend it at all. Also, talking from a business standpoint here, I have no idea why Alpha Dream really made this remake. Was Bowser's Inside Story really dying for one? I mean, it makes sense for Superstar Saga to get one because you can now have all the Mario & Luigi games on one system. But BIS was already a DS game, and 3DS systems are backwards compatible. Also, let me reiterate, this released in 2019, and guess what? It was reported to be one of the worst selling Mario games in the entire franchise, only selling 9,500 copies in the first week of Japan. That's nothing! At this point, Alpha Dream was basically asking for it. I'm really sorry to say for that, but the fact that this is how they went out and became bankrupt, it's kind of sad. It's real depressing to think that they went out with pretty much the opposite of a bang. And yeah, that's all I really have to say on this. But in conclusion, I hope we can look on the bright side. Bowser's Inside Story as a game is still really good. And even though I still prefer Superstar Saga over it, it was still kind of fun to make this review. However, that is why I'm kind of excited to get to Dream Team. We finally finished the DS era of Mario & Luigi once and for all. It's time to jump a generation ahead. I'm especially hyped for this one because if you don't know, this game also takes place in a completely different setting other than the Mushroom Kingdom, just like the Bean Kingdom from the first game. And that's piqued my interest once again. So yeah, I hope you all really enjoyed this video. I just want to thank you so much for actually watching this far. I put a lot of work into this video, you can obviously tell by the length. and it means a lot to me that you've reached the end by this point. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you someday, hopefully. Goodbye.
Charlie awesome.
Can I get an Oreo McFlurry?
You're slipping, Jenny! I could use you. Charlie awesome.
No.
I am not crazy. I am not crazy.
Charlie awesome.
See? I'm better. I'm fine.
Fuck you, Chuck.
Where the hell am I? Mamma mia! Where the hell am I? What? Huh? What's that sound? Oh my god! It's Giant Chuck! Hey, Giant Chuck! Can you please get me out of here? Wherever the hell this is. Could you please get me out? Please!
No.
Okay, but I don't know what you mean. Oh, my head. Oh, mamma mia. Oh.
Hello, Mario.
Who's there?
You're about to achieve your ultimate form now.